First of all, yes. First of all, I would want to thank you for inviting us on this seminar. We were responsible as AGSO, which is the City of Antwerp Education System, for work package 5 of the Renew Schools project, which aimed at conducting a first exploratory market research to find out what are the main triggers and obstacles for market uptake of this, let's say, Renew School method to renovation of school buildings with prefabricated elements. Yes. And in order to do so, we organized a survey for which we made a video available in 10 languages on this system using existing material, and then connected this to a survey also available in 10 languages. By the way, the survey is still available, so are the videos. So if anybody would be interested to support us in taking the survey, that would be great, because we are going to keep the survey and the videos ready on the website for another 5 years. So we hope in like 1 or 2 years' time we have many more answers. We use this video in surveys, but also a stakeholder platform in which we had users, owners, and people from the building industry present, and we conducted about 40 individual interviews. The survey responses, we had all in all 400 responses, which was, let's say, what we were hoping for. Of course, this does not mean that we have a valid sample, because we don't know how big the population is. So it's difficult to say if the answers we got are really representing the ideas of the opinions of all users or people working in maintenance or owners or industry connected to this kind of retrofit. But we think we have conducted a survey which gives at least a certain validity on answers for these 400 people. It's, let's say, face validity. We had 126 users of schools who answered, 33 maintenance, 37 owners. So all in all, that would make about 70 people who are either in maintenance or owning this kind of buildings, and which was surprising to us, 185 representatives of the industry. We can't go very deep into the results of the survey. They are on the website also available as the Owners and Industries Needs Report, because of course in 15 minutes we can't share everything now. But we started to ask about the perception of indoor air quality of renovated schools which had used this Renew School renovation system. And we had 86 answers of users, and apparently they are, in the far majority, are either very think this is much better, or certainly better than the existing school in which they are right now. It's about perception, because market uptake means that we have to find the perception of users, owners, and industry, and then see where the problems are ahead to get this into the market on a better level than right now. The perception of owners and maintenance was, let's say, less explicit, but certainly also much better, the perception of the indoor air quality in the renovated schools, which were shown, of course, in the video. Here, it is a quite big difference between people in maintenance and the owners. The owners are more positive about the outcome than people in maintenance, probably also because owners are mainly local politicians, which we interviewed or took the survey, while people in maintenance, in many cases responsible for maintenance, are engineers, and so they want to see the real data. Did you know about this type of modular renovation before seeing and watching this video? Apparently, in maintenance, many more than in the owners category said they did, which is kind of surprising because in many cases the answers came from countries where this type of renovation is not standard, and so apparently people know about it, but they do not use it because use of this kind of standardized retrofit with panels outside made of wood are not standard in countries like Belgium or western part of Germany. Let's say in those countries where wood construction is not the basis of construction. Amortization acceptance, and which was also interesting for us to know, is in case of the owners, how many years they would accept to amortize the loan or the investment which has to be made in order to renovate a school building with this type of renovation. And apparently it's between 15 and 22 years, so we might say around 20 years, which is standard for this kind of loans. And then, if available in your region, and this is quite nice to see, would you want schools to be renovated with this type of modular system? And the users said 80% yes, and so did industry. So apparently there is kind of a positive feeling about this kind of renovation, but then we have to know why it's not really used. And here we can see, in perspective of the users and later on managers, owners, and the industry, what most strengths are, what the opportunities are they see, which weaknesses they think are in the system, and also with threats are there against market uptake. We can't go into detail too much, so I took the most, those that were voted most for. And in the case of the users, they say, in their opinion, many of them said, it's great if I do not have to change school while they are renovating the school. They were really very positive about this. And certainly, and they see this as a big opportunity to have a new school, between brackets, during the holidays, the summer holidays. That was their main reason why they would choose for this type of renovation. Weaknesses, well, they say nobody knows this system where I work. Its users is not only pupils, of course, but also teachers and principals of schools. So they say they don't know it here. And the big threat, and that was really also in many cases the answer is there is no or not enough money for school buildings. Apparently this is the case in all European member states. From the maintenance part of view, we also kind of found many strengths, opportunities, weaknesses, and threats. But the main ones were, for strength, the huge difference in energy consumption. So if we want to put this in the market, we certainly also have to stress that you can go to nearly zero energy building in a period of 8 weeks in summer holiday, instead of having to pay for the rest of the life cycle of the existing building these huge, very high energy bills. Opportunity for them was a renovated building will motivate teachers and pupils for energy saving. So it's not only about the building, it's also about attitude. But it's far easier to get a good attitude towards energy saving and lessening our footprint, ecological footprint, if you can do this within a building as a landmark in your community, within a building that has already been renovated and retrofitted to a good energy standard. We had some questions from maintenance about the durability of the lifespan of these wooden modules. certainly in those countries where wood as a construction, basic construction material is not very much in use. And I can say that we are from Belgium, as you know. In Belgium, this is really a big issue because Belgians are born with a brick in their stomach, as we say. So it's important to find ways to get this through to the owners mainly and maintenance people in the school buildings that you can build and you can retrofit with modern modules and they have a very long lifespan. Threats, how to reach the inside of the ducts. In the video, we shown also one school where the ducts were integrated into the panels, and this is not, of course, always the case. But in that case, we had quite a lot of answers about how to have a retrofit system with a good internal ventilation, but with the system where the ducts can be reached easily and where the whole system is simple. Because certainly in those cases where a local village or a small city is the owner of the school buildings, which is in many cases, it's the case in many countries, they do not have these highly specialized people on board to maintain this kind of ventilation system. And so they are kind of worried that this would be a huge cost if they have to let this done every year or every month, for instance, by a company. The owners also had their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats presented, but here the main ones are, in strength, again, the speed of the on-site renovation and the fact that there is no costly move of pupils to temporary buildings. Because if you do the classical renovation of a school building, in many cases this means that you have to close down the school for about the school year and move the whole of the school to another site where you have to either rent or redo an existing building and make it into a school for a year time. This is a very, very expensive way of renovating a school. And so for the owners, that was the main strength. You can do it on site and you don't have to move pupils, which is also a very good thing from the pedagogical point of view. And because of standardized construction, a lot of them said, we think we can have a lower cost because we have, in many cases, several equal buildings. If it's a larger school owner, like a larger city, they have many of these school buildings. The city of Antwerp has 250 school buildings, and many of them were, like Armin said before for Austria, were built during the baby boom in the 60s and the early 70s. So they are all in need now of renovation and certainly energetic retrofit, and most of them have a very regular building construction. And so it might be possible, since the classrooms are standardized in a country like Belgium, the sizes are standardized, to have a standardized system where you still can have a very nice and very special architecture on the outside, but you can, as a basis, use the same kind of standardized modules. Weaknesses, they said, well, it's difficult to compare this with traditional renovation because in most of the countries this is not really in use yet. So they ask for more comparison between the existing traditional renovation and this new renovation retrofit with modules. And one of the threats we got in some cases was how about fire regulation and how about insurance for this type of building? From the industry, and this was the last group, of course, of people we had the survey with, we had those four as the basic strengths, opportunities, weaknesses, and threats. Strength: there is no time nor money loss thanks to construction off-site in weather-protected environment. If you can do 95% of the construction time within the halls, the warehouses of a company, of a construction company, you are not, like in many cases, in problem if you have a long, cold winter and you can't work enough outside. Opportunities, wooden construction is sustainable and ecologic. And this, of course, came mainly from those countries where it is already in use. But we might say that this is also an opportunity that can be stressed when trying to get this system in the market. Weakness, unclear about real cost-profit outcome. There is not enough experience. So there needs to be much more cost-profit in detail. And threats, where to find quality contractors for the modules if this is not something which has been done already a lot in the country. So first recommendations we got out of this survey and also out of the 40 interviews we did from the owners. For the owners, we would say as a recommendation, if you want to attract pupils and students, invest in modular renovation during school holidays. You get good energy savings, good indoor air quality, and a modern-looking school building. And all within one and the same election period, because that also was quite important if it's a local council that has to decide on either do a classic renovation or this kind of fast retrofit. They are quite interested in having results while they are still in office. It's always nicer to cut the ribbon of something which you have decided than to leave this, in some cases, to the opposition which takes over. Stay ahead in the education market, because it's more and more becoming a market where parents and students want to choose the school where they're going to. And if you can choose between an old school or a modern-looking one, it's very well possible that many people would choose for the new-looking one. And then from point of view of the industry, first recommendations, and I think we really hit the nail there. We need to have a better reliable cost-profit model if you want to compete in a market with existing traditional renovations. We should keep amortization under 20 years of this investment. We should invest in reliable regional information for investors, also about, for instance, fire regulation, indoor air quality, seismic problems like in Italy. Find ways to ensure lifelong quality while significantly lowering the cost and the level of traditional renovation. And certainly, and this is because most of these buildings are owned by public bodies, we have to create regional standardized models for the public procurement of this kind of investment and the permanent link with regional investors and research institutes. And this will conclude our input. Thank you very much.